I came to your PhD about museums and the inclusion and democratization of cultural institutions, which goes perfectly to which fits perfectly to our industry. Absolutely, I see a lot of similarities. Can you elaborate this amazing work you did? And tell us how can we implement all what you figure out in our industry?
Yes, so the thing is that when I was writing my PhD, the idea was to deliver something that was very practical and that it was not just remained in the academia, so something that the industry could work on, hands-on. So I developed a model to measure accessibility. In that case, it was specifically for people with disabilities and other special needs in museums. But the model, it was pretty simple. I tested in a museum, the Science Museum here in Barcelona. And the thing was that I evolved the model to be used for another industries, for example, on the tourism offices too. And the end result is that you really know, after covering all the different criteria that it covers the model, how accessible or not, and exactly in which specific areas is accessible or not. It could be in a hotel, or it could be a tourism office, or anywhere.
So if we talk about what you do, could you give us an example of what you do? Let's start with that.
Yes. So after you have to think that I started to write my master's thesis already on accessibility in tourism on 2009. So since a long time ago. So what happened is that I have seen that many of the accessibility measures that you can implement somewhere could be very transversal for many other groups. Okay, not just for people with disabilities. The same, the same improvement that you can do in, let's say, in one space, like a ramp, could be used by one person who is disabled, who has a wheelchair user, but it could be also used for somebody that broke his leg and is using crutches, or somebody like a family with a stroller. So many different profiles of users can be using this application. So the idea for me was to zoom up from accessibility to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and try to say, okay, so now we're going to see all these improvements working in terms of needs, all these improvements which publics are covering, right? So now what I do is, okay, so first of all, what I found is that there is not knowledge about what is even accessibility. So first thing, and obviously all the other requirements. So first what I do is all the training, capacity building for all the tourism chain. And then of course there is all the need to audit. So how and what I'm doing in my company or in my service. And the last one is the consultancy. So okay, so I help you to write a DEI plan for your organization. So we're going to see how are you working internally and externally, and then you will have an objective just to work on the next steps. So basically, this is the three axes that I work for.
Now we are here at IBTM.
Yeah.
It's one of the leading events of the meetings industry, and if we look around the space that's around us, do you see things that you would say are not inclusive or could be corrected, or that they're great, that they've done they tick all the boxes?
Yeah, well, yes, there's always there is room for improvement, I guess. But there are some basic things which are that are mandatory. And I would say that if you have to think about, okay, if I'm a person who has a disability or not, one of the most important things is that events are very tiring. We need spaces to rest. Everybody, not just people with disabilities. Yeah. Everybody needs spaces to rest. Everybody needs spaces to have tap water. Everybody needs to go to the bathroom and don't have to be in line for 10 minutes, because maybe I can stand, but nobody can. Not everybody can.
No.
So we have to think about...
You're right.
And then, for example, if you are in a bathroom and you are for the LGBT community, you have to choose to one bathroom or to another, but maybe you don't want to. So why don't we have...
That was my next question, actually.
Okay, so
you nailed it. But if I'm your client actually, and I'm organizing an outdoor festival, and if I want to lose you, how should I arrange this toilet area, which is an intimate place, one of the few intimate places, if we do not organize these zen zones where you can escape from the hustle bustle of this trade show. So how should I do that, to be really in line with what you're writing, doing, and so on? This is an interesting question to me, Yeah.
It's very basic. It's pretty basic. It's in the case of the example of the bathrooms, it's that easy that you just have to have non-gender bathrooms.
Yeah.
Everybody is welcome.
Cool.
And that's it.
Cool.
So yes, there are many things that you have to think when you are like organizing an event, like the booths, are they accessible or not? Depending on that, you will have people that will be accessing or not to the booth. Then the stages, are there ramps in the stage? Because everybody can just up. Then representation, is your event representative enough? So is a diverse group of people being part of it? And the staff, what about the staff? Can we see like diverse people working in the event? And not just from the companies, from the organizations, also from like the venue.
Yeah, very good point. Yesterday we talked with the organizers of Burning Man, which was Utopia. It was Utopia built up in the middle of desert actually, and they created an inclusive place. Main, I would say, principle of the festival was inclusivity. Am I right, Jan? I don't know how exactly they named this, but is there any standard for it, or how can we follow this actually? What should we do as event organizers? How can we really create fully inclusive events? Where to start?
Yeah, there are the basics, but one thing that I always say is that you really need to know your client, because there are very basics, but some of them are related with which is the profile of your attendees. If I'm organizing a tech, for example, Congress, which a specific profile of attendees that, for example, has men or not men, but for example, people with neurodivergence, which is very like common on the tech industry, you have to provide specific like resources for them. For example, like isolation rooms. But if you are, for example, like organizing, I don't know, like a Congress for families, which is the main topic, so this is completely different one. So you really need to know what is your future attitude.
I think IBTM actually did some of their homework in this regard, because I noticed that they actually changed some of the toilets that used to be equal male and female toilets. There's much more female now. So they know that our industry is quite, I would say, predominantly female in many extent. But let's take that into a form of a question.
Okay.
Looking at the meetings industry, how good is our industry in the DEI perspective? Are we doing our job properly? What should we do better? What should we do different?
I mean, there is room. I said there's also room for improvement from the industry, especially because there is this need to understand what it means when you are talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. For now, there is many people that it's already getting what it's about physical accessibility, which is great. But the thing is that the first step is to understand the whole idea, right? So one thing that I see like very commonly is that, for example, right now it's just a tick on the box. So I have the ramp, and I have the interpreter, and I have the captioning.
More about features, not about benefits, am I right?
It's about, so okay, I'm covering all, that's it. But it's not understood. Because that's what I was mentioning this morning in my presentation. It's you have to understand like being an event as an experience. So to have an experience, a good one or a bad one, depends for many people depends in all those things.
Because you said it's about the experience. Now events are often about the experience. We always say the experience is what creates an event. The event is memorized because of the experience, of the content, of, we are always chasing the never done, never seen before. And often there is, for instance, excessive lighting, there is effects, and we forget that there is people who are sensorically sensitive. How do you see, how can brands, how can organizers try to create the same kind of an experience for those who perhaps cannot have that in the most basic way that it was designed in?
The thing is that we have, which is that we have a lot of technology that we can just help us a lot in this journey. And it's, for example, like mentioning that there's nowadays we can have like a great speaker, for example, on the stage who is has a physical disability or who has, for example, who is blind and presenting a PowerPoint thanks to technology. Right? So we have a lot of like app application, different ways that we can include all diverse people in the event industry. But we need this trick to understand, and then because once you understand something, you can just start to work on.
So AI is definitely a helpful tool, huh?
There are many things that we can use AI, just a lot of things that before it was like a hard work to do on time and properly, and now helping with this. But behind the AI, there will be somebody like human thinking about why the use of it. So at the end, we are working with people and for people, and we need, even if we have the tech.
So definitely your approach is part of experience design as we know it, or design thinking. This is where I see a connection, but also it perfectly fits to sustainability actually, so to the social dimension. But how aware we are about that? Not really, I think so, because only when we measure and only when we put euros into that field, then it makes sense to many people. So can you comment that a little bit?
The thing is that we are at the point that, not that long ago, people was thinking about. So what do you mean about sustainability and environmental sustainability and measuring the carbon footprint? And nowadays it's something that nobody gets about this. The issue is that when are we going to get this point in terms of social approach of sustainability? And that's I mentioned before. If you say that you are sustainable, you have to be interiorized that you are socially sustainable too. If not, you are not. But this is something that people don't want to hear about. Okay.
I'm gonna be a little bit provocative now, and I'm gonna ask you a question which actually derives from a conversation I had about 10 days ago with the head of a catering company. We had an event, and at the event, basically 24 hours, we got the final less than 24 hours. We got the list of all the allergies and food specialities. And we get the list, the food is prepared accordingly, so it was all very last minute. And then as it is being served, people go, oh, I want to have that. So people that said I'm going to be vegetarian all of a sudden are eating steak. And this is something that allegedly, according to him, is happening more and more. So people claim to have certain food preferences and specialities, and then they flip, and then they have to throw away food that was originally prepared for them, and they might run out of food for somebody else. Now, so this has, of course, been on the table for a while. We know that it's a problem, it has been addressed, but what he then it kind of triggered my thinking is those who really have a problem are the ones who are then being punished because nobody's taking this seriously anymore. And my question with the DEI is, do you see that there's a threat that we might go full in saying, yeah, we need this and that and this and that, but we're not really considering what are those needs of the specific attendees at that event? Do you think it could become that kind of a blur as well? Coming
back to your example, I mean, I'm vegetarian, so I I found this issue everywhere. The thing is that if we need from the inclusive perspective, and it's also related with the inclusive design, which also works like this, everything should be for everybody. So if you find that if you are in a catering and there is no meat there, everybody, even myself, could eat. But if there is any vegetarian option, I mean, I cannot do it. But the rest, yes. So at the end, you have to maximize your investment. And it's the same like if you want to apply that for every design that you have to do. This is for catering, but it could be for everything. Okay, signage. If you are working, for example, on the signage of the venue, if you use signage that is inclusive, like pictograms, everybody can use it. Everybody understand.
It's true.
So maximize. I don't know. I don't understand like many languages, but for me, it's easy to understand the sign of bathroom.
No, you're absolutely right. So we are coming to the end of our discussion. So usually we finish with fire questions. But before that, I would like to ask you to wrap up why actually we need you as a consultant in 3 words.
In 3 words?
Yes.
Because my objective is to tweak the events industry to an inclusive and diverse industry.
Bravo. I love it. And the fire question is summer or winter?
Always summer.
Always summer.
Always summer. Beer or wine?
White wine.
White wine. Very specific. One more from me. The beach or the mountains?
The beach.
IMEX or IBTM? Oh, that one is hard.
This is hard. Well, let's say IBTM because I'm from Barcelona, but IMEX because I really want to just go and try there.
Super. Thanks, Monica, to being our guest and for this amazing discussion. And stay tuned. We are coming back in 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, guys.
No over tourism, nothing.
Live at IBTM 2024, and with Gorazd we have another great guest with us. Looking forward to a conversation with Annalisa Ponchia. Did I get it right?
You did.
The Sustainability Manager at AIM Group International. Welcome to Ljubljana Talks.
Thank you for listening. It's a pleasure to be here.
So the first question will be, what is the current zeitgeist of the meetings industry based on what you've observed and experienced in 2024?
The meeting industry in 2024 is defined by a balance of transformation and resilience. There's a strong focus on sustainability, inclusivity, and technological leveraging to enhance the participant and the attendees' experience at the event. Post-pandemic is mature. Post-pandemic recovery is mature. But other challenges are, as you well know, just around the corner. So we can talk about climate crisis, social and geopolitical challenges and situation, economical pressure. So the meeting planners, the agencies are rethinking their approach. On the light of this transformation, it's more on the size of personalized event with a touch on the human behavior and try to embed some also regenerative activities.
Your agency, AIM Group, is pioneer of sustainability in Europe, I would say. You have ISO. You're doing so many things. Why this matters to your agency and yourself, Annalisa, so much?
AIM Group places sustainability process at the heart of meeting planning. It resonates with the DNA of the company. We always been judged as a customer-oriented company. The awareness grew very early, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we are guided, I'm glad you mentioned it, we are guided by the requirement and the process ISO 20121, which we place, of course, at the inception of every event and try to plan according to that. But we don't consider that like a badge of honor. It's rather they are rather the principle that are creating a framework for us, structuring the company, structuring the operational teams, not I mean the company and the operation, the approach to clients, the approach to event design. That's why we originate.
Do you see a difference between corporate clients, corporate markets and associations? Since I know that you have both, you have many associations under your head, but also a lot of you're organizing a lot of corporate events. A difference?
There is a difference in the terms of what are the client requirements. Okay. Well, you know, we are approaching CSRD, and of course, large corporations had already to adapt, not only adapt, but obviously to include that in their financial report. So the requirements and the necessity that comes from clients are different. Associations are not required to yet report, and they are approaching sustainability more from the reputational perspective. They want to be up to the standard, while corporate clients, for them, is a necessity. So as a third party, we are required to be compliant.
As a sustainability manager at our group, as Gorazd said, you deal with many corporations and associations. How often do you come across attempts, it can be deliberate or indeliberate, accidental, of greenwashing?
Rather than the client point of view, I see that much more, unfortunately, coming from our industry.
Okay.
In the sense that not so many organizations or enterprises are prepared in terms of what really sustainability means, which is a transparent process and which has to demonstrate how accountable you are. So if you don't live up to this principle and standard, it's already greenwashing. Every claim which is not substantiated by, in fact, numbers and clear activities, clear implementation in your processes, is by default greenwashing. So, as I say, a lot of people from our sector are tempted to fall into this kind of mistake.
I would say the key word you said there is accountability.
Yes.
There is perhaps a lack of accountability in the industry, wouldn't you say?
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, we are still accountable for many other good reasons.
Okay. No,
and
I mean,
services we provide.
some people in the industry might get away with it. That's what I'm trying to say.
They might get away, which is different, of course. I mean, as I say, there are many well-prepared professionals and agencies which are accountable for the services they provide. I was specifically talking about sustainability, and simply because I think there is not enough or yet enough knowledge about what sustainability is and how you can implement that in your processes. So you're trying your best, trying to show. And there is a lot of talking, and I think it's time to walk the talk in our industry.
Definitely agree. So I believe that the next problem is also that we need to look beyond the footprint. So this brings the reason why we exist, actually. So we also need to learn how to measure the regional effects. So do you have any experience with that, or how do you see this part of the story? So carbon footprint on one side, and then on the other side, two things we are doing, but we do not know how to measure that. But if we balance those two things, the magic will happen. I think so.
I'm glad to hear about these questions, and I tell you why, because everybody's talking about net zero.
Yeah.
Will the event industry ever be net zero? It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
We know, right?
Yeah.
So we have to find the right balance between reducing the emission and leveraging the positive impact. And there you go with, I mean, now I would say the temporary solution is carbon offsetting, but we know that's not, and it cannot be a strategy. It's for me, so what resonates much better with my mindset is in fact regenerative, which imply including social, economical, beneficial impact in the community where you operate. And it can be exactly the location of the event, but it can be somewhere else.
Exactly.
So that's what, for me, is more valuable. Imagine life science events. They, by default, can bring so much of regenerative effect in any location, any place where they go. Any medical specialty can do advocacy, can do advertisement for, best medical healthy practices, and so on and so on.
Annalisa, what can you say about differences between countries all over the world, I would say, but is there a difference between North and South or whatsoever? Do you see any sample in regards of sustainability?
Well, obviously, we know there are much more aware of sustainability practices. For some reason, north of Europe, let's say Europe, because of course around the globe there are different, even legislation, so to say. It looks like Northern Europe are more prepared. And perhaps because they are a country more close to what Mother Nature has to offer, but Mother Nature has to offer a lot in different countries, I would say. Is perhaps their mindset and the attitude. But I live in Italy, for instance, and it's certainly a country which is not behind others. I mean, we consider ourselves south of Europe, of course, and it's not certainly behind many other countries. The differences are perhaps more in the mentality of the people and their awareness of the climate crisis changes.
We had Guy Bigwood today here, and we were talking about exactly this. Why the north of Europe is so progressive in this, and why some destinations in the south are less. But I think a key question was, at the moment, Europe is the leading kind of destination. But do you see it being a leader in a couple of years?
Still being the leader
Yeah.
in a couple of years? I think there are many other destinations that are getting up to incredible stuff.
Yeah.
If you walk around, we're here, right? So I think there's a big market about destination, I would say, rather than convention center or the proper MICE industries. And some of them are making incredible effort, I have to say. I was really noticing this. Asia, I would say, is going to be pretty much up to the standards very soon, very soon. It goes together with the way Asia is innovating a number of things. I mean, we used to consider Europe the most innovating region, but we have to watch these people because
we said this several times. Automotive is a great example, where we were sure that we were the best.
Exactly.
Forever, I think so. But now it's a different situation. Coming back to the event itself, we all know that it's not a big deal to calculate the scope 1 and scope 2. You are doing that also on the level of your company. But when we are coming to a scope 3, we deal with so many suppliers. How to actually convince them? Do you have any idea? What should we do, to be more cooperative? Okay, we can put this into the contract, but still, I mean, it's better to have other techniques so that everybody will report correctly and in line with the protocol we are following, which is GHG protocol.
We know that is going to be the big challenge because at the AIM group, for instance, we have been through the exercise a few years of compiling our sustainability report. As we say, so a few years in advance already in 24 for 2023, and it was with scope 1 and 2 only. But that put us in perspective of what is needed to be and really to measure scope 3. That's why we study a sort of a framework that starts from procurement. So any supplier is going to be mapped out. And in that respect, we are creating a database which is resonating in terms of procurement, contract, administration, operation team. So we are guiding the operation team through this funnel. So first of all is a way to be more concrete, more robust in the process, and not leave the responsibility to the planner or to the leaders, so to say. So it comes from people who are experts in procurement first and then throughout the process. The suppliers, again, I think you go through preferred partners, so at least you are dealing as much as you can with the same company, and it's kind of a joke because I'm telling you we're trying to map and we say the minimum we are dealing with is 8,000 for all our offices. So we say, okay, is that our selected number? Imagine what you have to go through. But they're getting the pressure not only from AIM group, they're getting the pressure from all the other organizations, so sooner or after. Problem is that this small company, they don't have the same necessity to report for the scope and the requirement of the CCRD.
Of course.
So they have to find an incentive. So maybe we have to find incentive.
That's true. What about your clients, like association clients? The merch is always a big deal, but they still do not believe in sustainability. This is so visible, and then we are buying things from China, traveling through the sea,
But maybe they are sustainable, who knows, but it's only about exporting them, importing them from China.
But this is a kind of, the most typical example of what we are doing. But coming back to your sustainable report, which is amazing, by the way, can you share some data? I mean, some amazing things you figure out of these reports, and share this with the audience.
Let's be clear. This is important, it's true, because as I say, we measure scope 1 and 2. So it was pretty much introspective in the company. Okay, so it was a good excuse to look at our operation, at the way and what we are. Scope 3 will come, and then we will measure the impact at large, okay? Everybody people tend to think ESG, environment, but social and governance, what really emerged from the report. Where companies like ours are leaning on their employees, on their staff, on our human resources. We deliver services not because we are producing automobiles, in fact. We are delivering services that are delivered by human beings. So 80% of the report was based on our, it's not only findings, but numbers about our people. Actually, we have a very nice thing. It's an intranet website which is called AIM People. AIM People define also how the company think about its human resources. So we put a lot of focus on training, for instance, and we found out that we were delivering so much training, more than expected, because sometimes we come like 20 people at fairs, we go to conferences, from MICA to PCMA, and it's hours and hours, and then very much specific training on IT, GDPR, sustainability, and so on. So in fact we put a lot of focus on the human resources and of course the governance. That was what really emerged.
It's a very, very fascinating debate. I think we could go quite a little bit deeper into all this, but unfortunately we are coming out towards the end of Ljubljana Talks. So usually in the wrap-up we have a couple of short rapid-fire questions. So
okay, ready for that?
We shoot a question and then you can answer it very quickly or you can develop your thoughts. Let me start with apple or pineapple?
Pineapple. No question.
Red or white?
White.
White. Okay. Coming from Italy, that part.
The red is, think about a good Chianti, come on.
Okay.
Yep,
Cool.
but
Cool.
white.
Frecciarossa or car?
I'm not a train lover. Car, but let me say why, because